No hablo con vos, no trato manio, no mi gibo no.
Muy buenas, un gusto estar con todos ustedes aquí en el Cinematógrafo, el cine en la tele. Bueno, vamos a encontrar con Amin Motallebzadeh, director de una película notable cuyo título es La conferencia de los pájaros. La conferencia de los pájaros estuvo acá en Marsella, donde estamos, en el festival. No ganó en esta ocasión ningún premio, pero no tiene la menor importancia. Es una película sobresaliente, ópera prima, y con quien está detrás de cámara, con Amin, vamos a hablar un poco sobre su película, La conferencia de los pájaros. Aquí, desde Marsella, una vez más, el Cinematógrafo. Así comienza nuestro programa. So, hello Amin.
Hello.
You are quite tall like the giraffe, to be honest. So here we are in Marseille. The festival was taking place for the last 7 days. Was one of the places, one of the big cinema. And your film, La conferencia de los pájaros in Spanish, Conference of the Birds, was the opening here. I saw the film a couple of months ago, and now I saw it here, and I'm still not sure what it's about. Of course I know what it's about, but I like to know a little bit from where did it come, this film, because in paper we'd say it's about a coach who died, We are talking about the world of soccer, the international soccer. But tell me something else. It seems to be that the film is not that. And if it is not that, what is the film about? For instance, languages, translations.
Yes. I mean, one could maybe say that it takes football as an excuse to do something else and to watch people coming and going and to see what is left behind when someone is gone, what like an absence could be, meaning to others, trying to make sense. And one thing which is like very apparent in the film is the motive of translation. So you've got a translator which you the first time see on a press conference.
Şu an buradayım. Sadece size konuşabilecek bir yüz verebilmek için. Yakında hepimiz ne olacağını göreceğiz. Siz de yakında ne olacağını göreceksiniz. Ben de yakında ne olacağını göreceğim.
I'm just here to give you a face to talk to. Soon we will know more.
So there's this motive of translation, and there's a translator which we see the first time on a press conference of a football club where they talk about the death of a coach. And somehow we keep seeing her in different situations where she's just translating. Also in the private moments in a prayer room we see her translating. And I was interested what happens if we see a character who we get used to her speaking for others. And at which point, maybe when she would speak for herself, we wouldn't realize if she just spoke for herself or she spoke for someone else. And at the end of the film, she recites a poem of Louise Glück on a press conference. And maybe there's a thought that like one is wondering if she's now speaking for herself because the words that she said don't belong really to the press conference. That was what I was interested.
And there is something, let's come back to the translation issue. Because of that, the film seems to be in a kind of, not the film in itself, but the film is in the film, it's lost in translation. In the sense that you take something that nowadays happens in soccer or football. For instance, we were talking about Bielsa.
Yeah.
And it was very funny because each time that Bielsa has been in a soccer team as a coach, there is a translator.
Yes.
And there is always a kind of not understanding properly what everything is going on. So I have the feeling that the whole film plays with this, which in a way addresses something about soccer nowadays, in which you have players from all over the world, coach from all over the world. In countries they don't speak their own languages. And as a kind of comment about this situation of loss in translation. I don't know, how do you see that?
Well, in the film you've got like around 4 languages being spoken, and in a very natural way it goes from one to the other. And you've got people from all over the world, and you can't really tell what city it is that they are in. So you've got people from most different backgrounds that find themselves at one place and have to function together. And the pressure before a final. And this coming and going of different people that interested me. And say again, what?
And I was thinking also about your situation, which is connected with the which is connected with the situation that you are in Germany. You have
Yes.
you have been born in Germany, and but your parents are from Iran.
Yeah.
Not only are from Iran, you are from a certain place in which language is not only Farsi,
Yeah.
so it's near Abstragiation. So your own situation is connected with this, like a multilingual experience of the world.
Yeah, this I realized, I mean, it wasn't an intention from the beginning, but like I realized because we worked backwards. And I realized while making the film that it's like very much related to my upbringing of speaking, like growing up with Farsi, Azerbaijan and German, and growing up with two cultures in Hamburg. So translating for others, for my parents, for different situation, but also I realize it happens in the film that I'm looking for this in between.
You're looking
for this in between, in between the languages, which we find through the translation, and in between places. We are constantly in the film and back rooms and rooms that like don't really belong to the people we see. So it really collides the people and the spaces. And I think this is the point where they become visible for me. And this is also a point where I can relate to it. And I could not imagine the film just focusing on one language, one place.
Okay.
Because I think for me it would be difficult to relate.
Yeah.
And this in between, like this world of soccer, that gave like a frame for this. And I realized because there is this huge fiction in the film, this assuming something, that gave me enough distance to get personal. That I could write scenes and bring in things that are personal, but for the viewer they could mean something else because they're situated in this world of football.
And there is something quite obviously done in the film, maybe not so obvious, but it is, which is the fact that when the film begins, when Conference of the Verse begins, you don't know exactly in which country it's taking place. You immediately believe that, well, maybe we are in some Muslim country or something like that. But in a moment we realize, well, no, this is not a Muslim country. We are in a European country, but never the country has been said. You know, it's like
Yes.
like Europe is an abstraction in a way. You realize that we are in Europe, maybe United States,
Yes.
or a Western country, but it's quite clear that we don't know where the country is.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about this sense of abstraction that the film plays all the time.
Well, as you said, one can't really tell where it is, and it's shot in a way that like we don't get the informations really off the streets, off a bus station or something. We don't see it, so we can't really tell where it is. And in the radio we hear English, and through the people who speak different languages we kind of get disorientated. And this is something which obviously in my experience I could not really tell where my place is. And also I feel the film, because of its whole structure and the repetitions and how it deals with time, it feels like one can't really tell at what time it happens and where we are, and it's kind of fallen out of place.
I mean, there is something in the film which I really, really enjoy, which could be considered as something also to not show that you don't have enough money to do a film about soccer, because soccer is a big business, and in a way you manage to work like if
Watch out.
it is no worry about it. If I die, I die. But you show in a way how this world is without being exactly in luxury places and so on. So one of the strategies that you have is to use, most of the time the film works with a concept of off-screen. So can you tell me a little bit about because this is connected with space, and how you begin understanding that was the way to stage the film?
Well, the film plays at the border of a club, so you never see the football pitch, you never see the actual game, and you just end up seeing everything which is aside of it in the back rooms of it. And these back rooms have another back room and another back room, where things happen which are not really related, seemingly, to football. And I realized that, like, while we were shooting in 5 blocks over 1.5 years, also because we didn't have any budget, as it's a student film. And but we embraced, like, the interest in the person, and the whole film is shot pretty close, where you feel the off-screen through the sound, and you get a feeling that these people you see are in the context of something bigger. And this contrast of, like, the sound of the, let's say, the catacombs of the stadium and the one person you see, this brings up for me a feeling of solitude of the people you see. And they're the whole time, although the film doesn't really explain, they're the whole time moving and speaking in this context of something bigger that they're related to. And they're kind of moving around in this sphere. And this is something which we realize, I mean, the sound itself in the film is becoming an own character in terms of how it evolves. And it's like the people coming and going, also the sound is like that. There's a score which is like, has its own life. And like the translation, like the characters, they all have their own rhythm in coming and going. So I was interested what happens when these elements, like, have this rhythm, and what kind of feeling it creates. And I was not interested in bringing them together to create a feeling that I want people to have. And also it was with this portraying this very expensive big world of football with this very limited amount of budget and people not being able to be paid who are on the set. And people coming from various backgrounds, most of them not being actors, most of them just being people, friends and people.
Some of them are students of the school that you were studying.
Yes, one of them is a typography professor at the school, and I don't know, another one I asked on the street. So they come, for me, was like more about asking people on this, to play who their presence for me is interesting, and not
This is
yeah.
this thing that you did with the sound,
Yes,
which is, you know, off screen, allows you to use sound in a proper way,
yes,
in a Bressonian sense, like
Yeah.
you do not duplicate what it is on the frame,
yeah,
but if not, you put something which is beyond the frame
yeah.
and allows you to understand more things that usually we understand. But this is something that you considered from the very beginning, before shooting, or was something that it was finally understood after the shooting?
Yes. Yes, also during shoot, that's because we shot over 5 blocks and we had these production circumstances. I think the film wouldn't have gotten this form without the process of it. And the process of it has the consequence that you want to shoot a scene with 14 footballers and just 2 come to the shoot. So you have to react. And what do? You make it more fragmented and you give a feeling more that there are others in the room through being close. So this process has like consequences for the form of the film and for the feeling one gets. And the sound is something which was also like evolving after the whole process. Being it's this.
But I mean, one thing is that of course you later on you began working on the sound because you know. But what I mean is the conception of the sound in working in this particular way was something that you thought before or after shooting.
You mean sound in terms of the music?
No, sounds in terms of that you are about to introduce a lot of things through sound and not from the space in itself of the framing space.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't something like the whole film is something which evolved. It's not something I had written in total.
Okay.
And we sat with the DOP and made a plan for the whole thing.
Okay.
Because we didn't have the resources.
Tell me something. You know, there is a kind of paranoia in Europe about the let's say, like the not to be able to stop, so to speak, the idea of a whole Muslim world or a whole Arabic world or something which is not Western will be little by little absorbing the European heritage. And this is something, not that the film is speaking directly, but it's quite clear, like the PCH, the soccer team, which is, it doesn't belong to the French.
Yes.
So, in a way, the film plays a little bit with this.
Yes.
How do you see that?
Yes, for me it's like, I think I would not ask these questions in a film or bring up these elements in a direct way. And I think this world of soccer kind of gave me enough distance and abstraction to subtly bring it in. And there is a certain perception we have of these people that are red Middle Eastern, and also with the grief of the coach we get into Muslim prayer rooms and this whole grieving situation. And for me it was very interesting to naively show a blind Arabic club owner and what an idea people have, because this is something which was very interesting to me, how banal our projections are of a coach, of a player, of a club owner from Saudi Arabia and so on. And then drift away and see, okay, what happens if this club owner comes, comforts the players and sings a song which goes for 2 minutes. And this is what happens for me, is like there comes a sense of fragility to characters of power and of certain origin and religion, that we grasp them in a different way in this setting. So for me it was very interesting to see how our perception drifts into something else. And like, first of all, taking serious who we got there as a presence and how the costumes, they're like a uniform. And then slowly to see where are points where I could drift into something else. And it could give us another feeling on a sensual level, what these projections of they're buying off the football, they're buying off the players, they're just rich people and so on, from Arabic background. And just to be curious what happens with our perception of them when there are like fragile moments of them. And we see a lot of men in a very sad manner.
Yeah.
And this is something which was interesting to me in a world of football where you've got all these men, where you've got this patriarchic thing, and after the fall of a coach, it's the question, okay, what's left? How do these people who are left deal with the situation and the void that is there? And this is something which I realized the film made possible to go into without saying something and without asking something directly, but with giving a space to maybe think differently and think in various forms.